CBS Radio. This is Talk 650, powered by CBS Radio.
Deloitte has prepared its year-end 2010 and 2011 outlook. It's called Oil and Gas Mergers and Acquisitions. A lot of talk, much more action, and it's covering deals from the past year, sector by sector. Very fascinating stuff. And this is a slice of the insights and the perspectives of Deloitte's M&A leaders on what's driving deals and what it means about how the business is changing. Very fortunate to have two of Deloitte's brightest stars with us on the show this morning. Jim Dillavou is a partner with the M&A Transaction Services at Deloitte & Touche, and Trevear Thomas is a principal with Deloitte Consulting, and he's in Virginia this morning. And I wanted to ask a question right off the bat of you, Trevear. How much support have the commodities markets contributed to a renewal of interest in energy assets? What are your expectations for the rest of this year?
Yeah, certainly. I think to address your question, I think the commodities market is certainly a driver in terms of M&A activity. Depending upon the sector, the subsector within the industry will have a different implication for driving M&A deals there. So I think it's certainly a driver.
Jim, your report says North America remains the center of E&P transaction activity, and this is thanks to domestic and international buyers of all types continuing to be drawn to what you call unconventional assets. What do you consider unconventional?
Well, unconventional is a term really that just says the well's not being drilled straight down in a typical play and environment. Mm-hmm. So particularly what we've seen and talked about is a lot of horizontal drilling. That's probably the biggest when we talk about unconventional. Yeah. The interesting thing is that's become so common now, it's almost the conventional unconventional.
Yeah, it's like, how do you draw the line? Where does it blur from one end to the other?
Yeah, it's become, very much what the companies are doing day in, day out. So unconventional in that sense is a bit of a misnomer.
Yeah. Hey, Trevear, what kind of opportunities might this continuing active transaction market create for the stronger players, and what are they looking for right now?
Sure. From a stronger player's perspective, in particular in the upstream, it's about reserve replacement. One of the key metrics in the oil and gas space, in terms of the ability to replenish your reserves based on the oil that you produce within a given year. And I think that's going to cause, it is causing over time, and I think will continue to cause more deal activity.
We know that this activity out in the Gulf has been questionable up until, well, yesterday with these new permits being let. And this is because of what has been a very murky regulatory outlook. What's happening in other parts of the world? And where are these buyers coming from right now?
From my perspective, they're coming from all over. If you look over, 2010, you've seen organizations from various countries around the world, India, China, countries in Europe, investing in particular in the U.S. business, in particular in the shale unconventional space, because that is a white-hot market at the moment.
How much business do you think we've lost, though, on the deep water side because of this permittatorium that we've been going through?
Well, it certainly has had an impact in terms of the permittatorium, but as you've noticed, or as you've mentioned earlier in the broadcast, that's starting to take hold in terms of more permits being coming through. From an industry perspective, it certainly has impacted those that are not as well capitalized because they're not able to produce revenue as a result of that if they have primary assets in the GOM. I think that's going to increase over time in terms of the number of permits, as well as those companies being able to drill again in that part of the world.
How much consolidation do you anticipate this year among these midstream providers, and how might that affect capacity for new investment opportunities?
I'd just say my experience is that people, when they are in this business and they sell assets or do some consolidation, they take that money and they reinvest it. They're excited about what they've been able to do.
Let's go do this some more.
That's right. I know a lot of these guys that I'd say, well, gee, after I made all that money, why don't I just go off and retire? And that's not their mentality.
These are the guys that are keeping the flow of ideas steady, keeping it on target. And if you'd like to download the latest thought pieces, go to Deloitte.com Deloitte.com/energy solutions. There's a wealth of information there for you. It's Deloitte.com/energy solutions. Trevor, thanks for being on the line with us. Jim, good to see you in the studio. And Frida, the silent partner over there, thank you for being in here as well.